Well, hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the stream and welcome to another chapter. Another chapter working on this guy right there. That's our Su-57 148 scale model airplane. That guy right there by Zvezda. We'll run the intro. We'll get right into it, okay? Okay guys, we're back. So, we're going to continue on the build. Last time we basically focused on things like our ailerons and our landing gear bay doors and things like that. So I got a little bit of sanding done underneath here to just smoothen these lines out a little bit as to get a nice smooth transition underneath there so we don't have any harsh steps. I'm going to call them steps. You know, when you get two panels that are supposed to be lined up nice and perfect like this, but you got one that's just a little bit on the edge, right? And then you get that hard line and then it just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right when you touch it either. You feel there's a step and it doesn't, it's not right, okay? So as I'm feeling along here, I can feel a little bit of a step still. So it could probably still use a little bit of the sandpaper treatment along there to smoothen that step out. Yeah, I can do a little more work on that. Same with our front here. Let me change the camera and see if we can show you a little bit what we're dealing with, okay? I don't know if the camera really going to pick up the fact that there's a line. You could probably see this is kind of inset a little bit, and then this one sticks up. That's just the nature of the beast, right? That's the way it goes. You could possibly eliminate that by gluing these two together, making these one piece on a nice flat surface like your table, and make sure they're level, right? You could try and do that. But as far as like things like this in here, you're not really going to be able to do much. You might be able to see here we get the little bit of a step. I had to put putty in there to fill in a bit of a gap, but it's okay. It's not bad. And same with this one here. A lot of this stuff is going to kind of go away once we get some more paint on there, but this has a little bit of a step at the front of it there. If I get the right camera angle and you might be able to see there's a bit of a step, right? It's sticking up just a little hair. If I were to take my knife and go along here, oh, we hit, right? We hit right there. You can probably hear it too. Like that, yeah. So it's little things like that it bugs me a little bit, and I'd like to, you know, just kind of clean those up a little bit, even taking the file to the edge just to help eliminate that real harsh edge. I like, when I'm using a file on it like this, I like to go in circles if I can, so that if I do get any gouges, they're not just gouges in one straight line. And of course I go lightly. And just this little bit I'm doing right now is cleaning this up nicely on that harsh edge, just to clean it up. And of course the sandpaper will smoothen that out. I think this is going to be mostly the focus for today, guys, is just smoothing out these edges a little bit so that it just looks a little better once we do get some paint on there. Still got a little bit of an edge here, so I'll just do this. This, of course, is totally subjective. It's not necessary. And of course, if you're building this plane like I did on my first go around, and you got your landing gear bays all open, then you don't have to deal with any of this at all, because it's going to fit. It's all going to look really good anyway. So with your landing gear bays doors open, you don't have to worry about any of this kind of stuff at all, right? This one I want to kind of focus right inside here if I can. So I'm going to fold my tape like this. Tape, masking my sanding paper, just to try and get on that edge and eliminate that edge a little bit. It's not the end of the world. At least that one's not the end of the world. And we have the front edge of our main missile bay. It's not quite perfect either. So take a bit of that edge off. That's feeling better. So this already looks 100% better right in here, right? Already, it feels a lot better. I don't feel the big step there anymore. So that's a lot nicer now. This, there's nothing I'm really going to be able to do about that unless I wanted to put putty. But if I put putty, then I'd have to try and re-scribe a panel line in the middle here and all that, and I don't want to do that. Oh, Canadian geese flying overhead. How about that? It must be the end of summer. Okay, as for these, this one's just being a little bit stubborn and not really wanting to level out. So I'm going to give this the same treatment that I did with that front landing gear bay door, and get this a little bit better. That is the nice thing about flat panels. Okay, that's good enough. We're going to do sanding paper on that one next. Now this is something you actually might want to have to deal with on yours. It really depends. This is going to be displayed in flight, so it's going to, you're going to be, you know, seeing the underneath of it is something that my client is going to see quite often. Otherwise, I wouldn't be really worrying about this too much. But the fact that he's going to be displaying this in flight, I want this looking as good as I can from the underside. Simply because he's going to be seeing this all the time from the underneath. That's feeling a bit better now. Even though I had done this already a little bit, I hadn't done enough. Not to my liking. It just didn't feel right. So this sandpaper that I'm using on this right now, I believe is 180 grit. So it's pretty coarse. But I like it because it burns through the plastic quite quickly without really gouging the heck out of it. Because that's really the one thing you want to avoid is gouging it, right? And that's why I switch from just a straight back and forth to going in circles, things like that, to avoid those deep gouges. Okay, I think I'm at a point where that feels nice. This one actually feels better now, a lot better than this side. So I need to work on this side more. Going along that seam there really helps too. You can see the big pieces of dust coming off there. Oh, that feels good. That feels a lot better. Still this edge. Okay, I think we're done, guys. I just had a glitch on my screen and it didn't, I'm not sure what's going on here. I seem to have two windows open at the same time. I don't know why. Let's close this window. Okay, I hope we're still going. We're still rolling. Looks like we're still rolling. Okay, so that feels a lot better. Much, much better. So, what's the next thing? Well, remember last time we was dealing with our rear landing bay doors and how those had that little edge on them. Let me get them here. They have this little lip on the inside all the way around. And that little lip was interfering with the little lip around this edge that's all the way around, almost all the way around, but it starts about here. It goes around all the way to here, and then we have a little edge here going all the way along here. And it was interfering with that. And so it's not much I could do about the edge here because it's actually got, you know, that beats a big block in there going all the way to the top of the fuselage. Same on this side here. See that inside there? Right? So how do you get rid of that, right? You'd have to do a lot of carving, and then of course it's tight in there. How do you get rid of that really? So instead I focused on this edge. So you can see the edge is now kind of a soft angled edge, and you can tell where I've gone. What I did was I took my Dremel and I worked on that edge, so it's really, instead of the edge being, let me try and draw this out. I'm going to show you. Give me a piece of paper. So here's the bay door, the edge, okay? That's this side here, okay? This side here. You had the edge, this was like this, okay? But the edge was sticking up like this. This is a extreme angle on it, okay? You had this edge, and that's what this was. So by getting in there with my Dremel, I could change it, and it's more like this now. And now it's more like this, okay? So it's a lot more easier transition. I didn't want to go deep. I didn't want to really thin this out. I don't think that was necessary, okay? But it's a lot more of smoother of a transition as it thickens, okay? And so I did do a test fit, and they are very, very tight, but they do fit. Let me get my coffee out of the way. It's a tight fit, but a fit nonetheless. These fit in here now. I retained our two little pegs that stick out. That would be the hinge for when you're mounting it like this. If you're doing this open, then yeah, it's going to sit kind of like this. But we're closing these up. And so, let's line that up. And it fits right in there like that. Now that's not a perfect fit, but it's pretty good. It's not bad at all. And we can put some glue on that. And then I can put putty in there later to fill in like a little bit of a weird gap right there. Like a little bit of putty in there will fix that and close that up nicely. So let's put some glue all the way around this. And we've got one main door installed. There There we go. So let's try this one out. Same deal. This guy facing the right way. Line him up. And then kind of drop him in there. It's the same kind of thing. It's kind of, it fits, but it doesn't. You can tell they really didn't intend you to do this with these, right? Get that lined up. And you see on this edge here, it's got a huge gap. It's got a big gap right in here. See that gap? That is really not flush at all. This side's pretty good. That one, that's pretty flush. That's not bad at all. But this side, wow. I don't know if I can fix that, because if I pull that out, then it's not really gonna line up anywhere else. Let me just try to pull this out of that gap there. See, this is such a tight fit now. Let's see if I can pull this out. Line it up a little better. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Once it pops in here, it just is sucked in right there, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm gonna call that imperfect Russian engineering. That's what I'm gonna chalk that up to. I'm pretty sure Zvezda is a Russian company anyway, so I don't know if it's actually Russian or not. It might be Ukrainian. I'm not sure. I have not done my research on Zvezda as a company, so if you guys know whether they're Russian or Ukrainian, you can leave a comment down below and let me know. Okay, so that's glued in. And we can leave that. So we're all buttoned up for the most part. See, it does want to kind of stick out here too. But there's nothing I can do about that. It's just the way that is. Once this is all glued, once the glue is cured, I can take the file to that edge and get that fixed there. But it's sticking out and it ain't going anywhere, so it's just the way it is. Again, these are not designed to actually have these closed up, so the fact we're closing them up is not what they intended, so that's just the way it is. Okay, so the other thing we can do is we can glue our tail fins on. Let's flip her over. This guy is simply going to just glue right in there. Bing. And that's going to be done, just like that. Okay? So, let's get that glued on. I'm tempted to actually take a piece of tape and just put it across here, just to give it a little bit of something to hold on to while the glue is curing. I'm going to do that. Okay. Get him in his spot, like so. Hold that like that. Tape to help me out. Glue there. Now it kind of looks like it's touching along this edge. Just in case it is, I'll put some glue there. And that's that. Okay. Let's have a look at it underneath here. doesn't line up quite as nicely here. I'm being careful not to move it. I'll just put some glue on it there, just so we've got glue on all the edges. Okay, so there's one. Cheap viewers on blah 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 blah. Yeah, no thanks. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bot. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this guy. It's going to go right there. So again, I want to put a piece of tape there just to help it out, because it's not like there's any real peg going in to hold it or anything like that. So that's why I'm going with the tape, just to hold it for me while the glue cures. Okay. Again, just holding it like this in its spot. Use tape to help me. So even without the glue, it'll hold it for me. But I don't want to rely on the tape so much. This one does not seem to be touching at all on this edge, so I'm going to not bother gluing it there. And then, just to make sure we've got glue all the way around, we're going to put glue there. Alright, so we're going to let that dry. And that's that. These are our canards that would have gone on the front there. I can throw these away. We're not using them at all. I have a spare pilot body. Of course, we already have our pilot in there, right? Remember that? A long time ago. This guy I don't need no more. No. Okay, so we're going to put this aside and let this dry for a bit while we work on something else. So let's put this over here just so he's out of the way and out of danger of anything. And we're going to work on missile pods, because we are putting the pods on the wings. We're going to put a couple of pods on there too. Okay, so let me change my glasses. I'm doing this all so far, and I've got my long distance glasses on, and I need my up close and personal glasses. Okay, so we're going to assemble 20A and 20B, and that's going to be up here. 20A are these two, and 20B are these two. Okay, so we're not going to be doing this guy here or this guy here. This is 18 and 19. We're not doing these guys. Okay, or are we? Or are we? Let's see. They don't show it. They don't show it. So I think one of the unique things about the Russians is they've got this big honking missile, this one here. I think we're going to put this guy on the wing, okay, along with maybe this guy here, the 20E, which is going to be this missile here, but I think he uses a different pod. He uses a much bigger pod. They got this as 20A using that one. This one's 20C. This is number 18. So we have to assemble this guy. So we're going to do 20B for this particular missile, and then we're going to do number 18 for our great big one. Okay, so let's start 20A, and for 20A we need number C, 16 and 32. So let's find our C tree here. That's F, E, G, C. Oh, we got two C's, so we're good. We're good. Okay, so we need see 16 and 32. Here's 16. Is that right? 16. And 32 over here. All right. So these go together like that. Okay, there's one. So let's grab the same ones off of the other tree. Other tree, other sprue, whatever you want to call it. Isn't a sprue a type of tree anyway? Sprue tree? Maybe I'm just being weird. I don't know. I don't know. All right. So there's those. Okay. So what missiles are going on these guys? It's these guys here. This one right here. These are all C-14 and 15. 14 and 15. 14 is the back end of the missile. Now before I actually put the missiles on there, I'm going to paint them. It's going to be one of the last things I do. And then 15 is the missile itself. It is nice that Zvezda's not making me put all these little fins on them, on this particular missile. But we do have some pretty big marks to clean up on this, just because of the nature of them and where they are. It is also nice, you know, some kits you've got to even put the two halves of the missiles together, and you get that great big parting line and the big seam line, and it's a lot of work to do them. I understand why some guys, they just 3D print missiles, or they buy 3D printed missiles. Nowadays the whole 3D printed thing is taking over because of the amount of detail you get out of a 3D printed thing, which is kind of why I bought myself a 3D printer, so I can do my own, I can print my own stuff and not just rely on online vendors shipping me 3D printed things. That's something I am going to be showing you guys, in case you guys are interested in, you know, looking into the whole 3D printed game. I'll call it a game, just to see what your interests are. If you are kind of thinking about getting into that, what it's all entailed. So this thing is only gonna fit in one little spot. Thing, bing, kind of falls into its spot right there. So that's perfect. Let's put some glue on that guy there. Okay. There we go. Just like that. Okay. There's one missile. Now, like I said, that needs to be painted before we actually put it on there. The missile pods, however, the pods are always the same color as the airplanes, so we don't have to worry about that so much. What we do have to worry about is these unsightly big nubs that get left behind. Now, one thing I did a long time ago is I did some research. I looked online to see what they show for the different armaments on the Su-57 airplane. And there's kind of an interesting picture you can find that shows all the missiles that they can put on the aircraft. And of course their designations, their weird numbers and whatever. You know, missiles have weird numbers to them. That's just my thing. You know, AIM 9X, AIM 7, all those kinds of things. But these have their own. I'll do you a favor and I'll find that picture because I think I still have it. It shows all the missiles that these planes come with. Let's see if I can find it here. Do I still have it for the Su-57? I thought I did. I thought I did. Maybe I don't anymore. No, I'm sure I do. I'm sure I do. The reason I'm sure is because I didn't get rid of it. Okay. So I believe the missiles that we are going to be building I don't have a picture of. This one here that we're building, this guy here is the K-77M long-range missile. Okay, that's what this guy is. The great big one that they put underneath the aircraft is the KH-31P. Okay, yeah, the KH-31. That's the missile that they use, that we're building. That's where we're loading up this plane with. Okay. First, let's get this put together. We'll do that. We'll work on those missiles. We'll assemble those ones next. KH-31. That's this big guy. There's multiple pieces. Okay. So we have to assemble 19A. 19A was this here. C, 28, and 29, 30, and 31. 28. This missile takes multiple pieces because I'm going to say, it's a complicated missile. 28, 29, and we need 30 and 31. It's multiple parts. So you look at this and it goes, it doesn't go together, because you have to put them together like this. Like that. Okay. this edge. There we go. Okay, so there's one. Each missile gets 2 of these, which is why we're doing all this. I would say it's the most unique of all the missiles that the Russians put on these aircraft. It's a great big, it's a big looking missile. Okay, so there's that, those two. Then we're going to take C-18 and 23 and C-6. 6, 18, and 23. So where's number 6? Right here, this round guy. C6, 18 and 23. This guy here. You know, this missile is a huge missile. Huge, big boy of a missile. Like, look at a comparison. Those two missiles, it's incredible how the difference in size. Now this is going to take some work to get that lined up so it's nice, a nice smooth line, and it looks nice and round like it's supposed to be. And not have a big parting line in the middle of it. These missiles are also unique in their color, that they do multiple colors on them, which again adds to their unique look. Okay, so you have these two halves put together, and then you're going to put our little extra fins on them. A couple little pegs and line them up just like that. I'm just going to make sure I don't have any nubs that are going to interfere with it lining up nicely. That. And then put that together like this. Some glue along that edge. This edge. Okay, just like that. Same deal with this one. Clean up our nubs. Flip them over. Line it up. And there we go. That's our big missile. That's one. We're going to do one more. Okay? One more of these. You can almost set them up like that, like a rocket. But we got this guy to go on the tip. Let's get rid of these. Clean up our edges. And this guy just goes on the back end right here. Just like that. A little bit of glue all around him. Give another press to make sure he's flat. Flush. There we go. Just like that. And there we have the back end. And he should still stand up. Bingo. Alright, let's grab the other one. Let's get that assembled. take the same parts off, starting with these guys. Might as well, since I'm here. We already know what parts we need, right? Since we just did it, we know what parts we need. There we go. You guys might be wondering or noticing that I'm not bothering with the nub cleanup on these, and that's on purpose. I'm not doing it right now because I'm letting the glue dry, because I'm going to have to sand this edge later once the glue's all dried, in order to clean it up and make it look a little bit better. There we go. Give it a little bit of a squeeze just to hold it for a minute. There we go. There's that. Okay. Now, of course, with these ones, I do have to clean up the nubs on them because it won't fit on the missile if you don't clean them up. Now, this one's got one that's going to be interfering. Let's do that. Go. I do really love this Tamiya extra thin. You know, even though this isn't the quick type, it still dries really quickly, or at least it begins to hold really quick. And I really love that about the Tamiya glue. You know, I've seen some guys on the Facebook groups talking about, oh, I've used Tester's model glue for years, blah blah blah. You know what? When I was a kid, yeah, as a teenager, I used Testers. That was really the only thing on the market that was for hobby glue, other than CA glue. And CA glue was just a nightmare. You know, as a kid, CA glue is a nightmare to work with. I say a kid, I was like 16, building models. And, you know, CA glue just loves to get everywhere without you knowing it. And so Tester's model glue was the glue to use. As a teenager, things like Tamiya was just too expensive to even be something to consider. It was kind of like, oh, if I could only afford it, you know. Tamiya is so expensive, so I never buy Tamiya. Yeah. It's just the way it was, you know, as a teenager. But I see grown-ass men in their 40s still wanting to use Tester's model glue. And I can honestly tell you, when you've had a model sitting on your shelf for 10 years and you haven't touched it, and you put it together with Tester's model glue, 10 years later you pick that up and that kit will practically fall apart on you, because the Tester's model glue doesn't really do the job. It just doesn't. I'm talking about the Tester's model glue that comes in that kind of a white and orange tube. That's the stuff I used to use. And I can honestly say I never saw it melt the plastic together like Tamiya's does. There we go. Our second missile, or I guess technically our fourth missile, assembled. So let's get these extra little nubs out of here. We're going to put our missile pods down on the wings. Okay? But actually, now that I'm thinking about it, no, I'm not. Why not? The reason why not is because we've got camouflage patterns to paint on this plane, which I am not prepared to do today. What I am prepared to do is thank you guys for watching. And I'm prepared to thank you guys for all the support and everything that you do. Everything that you guys have done. I want to thank you guys. In the near future, I'm going to be starting to implement a little bit of some 3D printing, and I want to bring you guys along with me in this endeavor, in my endeavor to 3D print stuff and implement it into my model kits. And it's a learning process, and I want you guys to come and learn with me, okay? And that's my plan. And once this is all set and done, we're going to start working on that kind of stuff. I want to bring you guys along with me on my journey to learn how to 3D print. Now, I have, obviously, you guys may have noticed some things I've been working on recently. So I have tested out some 3D printing things, and I have learned a little bit on the way. So I'm going to teach you guys what I've learned on that. And that is coming up. Okay, that's coming up soon. So what I'm going to do, what are we going to do next? Next, we're going to work on painting, because the actual assembly of this kit is almost finished. Yes, we do still have the canopy. Okay, the canopy's got to be masked off. I got to mask this off because the canopy's got to go on the plane and get painted and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to paint the missiles. Looks like I need to add some primer to these after I get them cleaned up and sanded a little bit. I'll have to get some primer on these a little bit. It looks like I did a very light priming on this particular tree, so that'll be it. But if you look at the instructions, after installing the missiles, that's it. It's all decals and stuff like that. The actual assembly of the kit is, well, it's pretty much done. Pretty much done, right? So, yeah. Yeah, our wings are done. Our missile pods, they're gonna go here, you know, right there, bing, like that. It doesn't want to sit on its own, just like that. But what about the other ones? What about the big missile pods for these? Well, how about that? I just thought of that. Let's have a look. We got a few minutes. We got time, right? Of course we got time. Let's take a look. So I forgot all about that. It's these. We got to assemble these. Number 18 goes with these guys, right? Number 18 right there. So we got to assemble those. C 37 and 36, but we've got this guy here, 18A. 18A is this up here, 34 and 35. So before I go running off, let's do this. See, 34 and 35. I need my other glasses again, because I can't read these tiny little numbers on the sprue. 34 and 35. It's these tiny little guys. Okay, and then we need these two, 37 and 36. These two long ones. Okay. So first, these two go together like that. Okay. Okay, there's that. Now this guy's actually going to go inside, I think. No, he doesn't go inside. These two go to like this. Like that. And he kind of goes up in this notch. So once you get these guys together, he's going to fit up in here like this. Okay. Alright, so there's that. Let's do the other side. Let's grab the other sprue. Same ones. We got to do this twice. We got two missiles to do, right? So let's do this. All right. I will commend them on their manufacturing of these parts, because these go together really nice, and they, you know, sometimes you get them that the pegs that line them up are not exactly perfect and they don't actually line up, and you wind up having to remove the pegs. Like I always say, you know, you've got a little hole on the inside of this one there, right? Get that in there. See that hole at the very tip? And then on this side you have a little peg, right? You got a peg that goes in the hole. Sometimes those pegs, they don't line up, and then you don't get, you know, they're crooked and they don't line up. I'd have to say maybe I get that more with like Revell. It's kind of ironic, you know, in the West here we hear, you know, all about German engineering and blah blah blah, and the precision, you know, stuff like that. And then Revell, of course, is a German company, and yet Revell kind of gets crapped on quite a bit for their imperfections. And their, you know, just their lack of quality in their kits. At the same time, Revell does offer some stuff that you just can't get anywhere else. Especially in model cars. Okay, so before I put it on here, I want to clean up our nubs. Get these smoothed out here a little bit. Smoothing these out here. This side doesn't matter. This is the side that's going to be kind of visible sitting from the top, so that's why I like to kind of shave off our parting line so this looks a little bit more like it's one piece. Let's flatten that out. Again, the nubs are always, nubs are the enemy. There we go. Okay, and then we take this guy. Okay, this guy with his nubs cleaned up. Not that it's really going to matter. And it's going to go in. Now you notice that doesn't look right. We've got a kind of a circle and a square, so you got to line it up like that and get it in the middle. They have it kind of molded in on this side, but then this side you have to line it up and put it. Line it up and put it. So just put glue in there, just like that. And get it kind of centered in there, and yet straight. And there you go. And there you have that one done, just like that. Okay. Now this guy, you know, they're going to mount on the missile. The missile's got a couple of notches there. It's going to mount like that. Okay. Kind of like that. Stop trying to focus on the table. There you go. That's how it's going to look. Kind of like that. Okay. Let's do the same on this one. As we get ready to go. Clean up those nubs. Shave that line down. Get this nice and looking pretty. And on this end. There we go. I'm just gonna, because I had a parting line on the other side, let's just do that on this side too. Just to make sure it's got a nice flat surface to mount. There we go. This guy, get him cleaned up so he fits flush like he's supposed to. Always clean up your nubs before assembly, because cleaning up after is often too hard to do. Okay, same deal. Get that lined up. Bingo. Hold it in place. And glue. And there we go. Just like that. Done. All done. Alright guys. So now this is where I'm going to leave. Let those dry. I'm going to take off. That's going to be it for now, guys. That's where we're going to end this episode. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for the support. Thank you for the comments. Thank you. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below there. I'd really appreciate that a lot. Hit the like button too if you like this stuff. And leave a comment if you feel like it. I really appreciate it. I love reading your comments. And as you guys know who do comment, that I respond to your comments, because I like that. You can always watch me live. Down in the box below, in the description box, you're going to find links to my other stuff that I do. I go on Twitch and I'm doing this live, as I'm actually doing it live right now. And you could go on my Twitch channel, you could follow me there, you could even subscribe if you felt like it. But you follow me on Twitch and then you get notified when I'm live, and you can watch me do this stuff live. You could comment and talk to me while I'm live. It'll pop up over on here on the chat. And yeah, and you could ask me questions and tell me I'm ugly and stupid, and do whatever you feel like if you wanted to. Check out my Instagram too, and where I upload still pictures of everything that I've done. I post pictures on my Instagram too, and also my X channel. You can check me out on there too. Anyway guys, I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out, and we will see you all in the next one.